Hey guys, what up? It's Dan from AutoMotivationZ here to do another car video for you. I wanted to do something with comparing my RS5 to my RS3. The reason why, a lot of people commented on the RS3. They really liked everything that was going on with that. And, you know, why did I get an RS5 when I had an RS3 already, which is pretty similar? Some of the things that I've noticed about it. I will say that this is my first time filming in 4K. It's the same GoPro 8. I thought I'd try it and see how it turns out. So let me know what you think. If it works out, if it doesn't work out, if you think it's garbage, let me know. I would be interested to see what people have to say about that. So it is a little windy out today, so I have all the windows closed. I have the car turned off. Just so you know, I am going to go out and look at the car and point out certain things. So there will be that, but to start out, I wanted to do the engine. And we'll take you out there. Let's see. Now I'm in my spot again, and you guys, it is an absolutely glorious day outside. It's a little windy, but it's been so dang hot outside that it feels amazing. This feels fantastic. I am really liking this weather. So the engine. Number one, what we got here, look at that. So this is 444 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque. And I'll just take you guys for a little walk around inside the old engine bay here, just so you can see what you're going to be dealing with if you ever buy this car. You have the hood latch right here, which is a little bit different than most cars. It kind of pulls over to this side a little bit, but it's easy enough. The hood feels very heavy, but this is I believe this is an aluminum hood. I could be wrong about that, but it feels pretty heavy to be aluminum. I don't know. Here's the engine bay. Here's the intake, or the air box, sorry. You can get a carbon cover for this, but I didn't get the package for that. It's like $5,000. And then you slam the hood, it goes down. Nothing like the BMW, which you have to use two hands with. So like I mentioned outside, the RS5 is a 2.9 liter. It's a 6-cylinder. It's a twin turbo. 444 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque. In the new model, it's 442 pound-feet of torque. Don't ask me why. It's detuned by 1, but it is. So FYI for that. The newest models have 1 pound-foot of less torque. The RS3 had a 2.5 liter. 5-cylinder with 400 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque. So you get almost 90 pound-feet more in the RS5. You can definitely feel it. I definitely feel it when I accelerate. Even just from normal acceleration, you can definitely feel it. There's a lot more punch behind the acceleration than there was in the RS3. Don't get me wrong, the RS3 was plenty fast. Scary fast most times. It's so small, it's so agile that, I mean, you don't really notice that. The RS5 is just a tick faster. I would say, you know, if you were both RS3, RS5 at a stoplight and you both took off, you're probably not going to be able to overtake an RS3 and an RS5. You might be able to, but it is what it is. So suspension. Both of my cars, actually all 3 of them, because I had 2 RS3s, had the dynamic package with them that has the magnetic ride control. So you switch between comfort, auto, and dynamic. Comfort will have everything in the most comfortable setting, so it's very nice and plush. You can, you know, you ride like a Cadillac. Dynamic mode in the RS3 was a little bit less firm than I was expecting, but it still went pretty well. And it rode really well. I never had any problems with the ride in that. I would always pop it into dynamic mode when I'd hit traffic. I still do the same thing with this car. So it's something that, you know, it's easy to do. It feels good. I mean, it's not terrible. You could daily drive it in that mode for suspension. Now the RS5, on the other hand, you could not, well, I mean, you could, but it's a very firm ride. It reminds me of my X3M competition, where you really, I mean, unless you're racing or you're doing some spirited driving, you're probably going to leave it in comfort mode most of the time. I have it in individual, where I have the engine in Sport Plus, or Dynamic, sorry, and I have it in comfort mode for the suspension, because it's too much. You really don't need it. It's relatively bumpy. It made me feel like my old STI. So there is that. I mean, you can drive in dynamic mode, but for the suspension and for the feel of the road, you get a lot of bumps in it. You guys, the price is huge. There's a huge difference between these. So I bought my 2019 RS3 for $54,800. It was a really good deal. It had been on the lot for over a year. Shout out again at Bob Moore Porsche Audi in Oklahoma City. Fantastic group of guys there. Daryl Jefflow, fantastic dude. Really helped me out. My RS5 was 20 grand more, but you know, what do you get for that 20 grand? Well, you get the look of this car. The look of this car is much better, and I'll take you guys out here for a second so you can see what I'm talking about. I mean, look at this. This is just phenomenal, and it looks great. I wouldn't say it sounds great because I don't like the stock exhaust, but I mean, look at this car, you guys. That is where it is at right there. Look at that. It looks great. It performs great. It has a great engine in it. So there it is. And of course, RS5 with the black Audi badges. Guys, if you get an Audi, you have to get black badges. It just makes it look so much cooler. So with the 20 grand difference, I mean, you are getting a little bit more performance. You are getting mostly space. And that's what I found in mine, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. So for the transmission, what are you getting? So the RS3 has a 7-speed DCT, dual clutch, very snappy transmission, very easy to use. I really liked it because of the way that you can use the transmission in different traffic settings, and it worked very well. It always seemed that sport mode was in the wrong gear. You're going 30 in a city area, you're in the wrong gear. You're at 3,000 RPMs. You're going on the highway, you need to go 55. You're in 5th gear, going 3,000 RPMs. So it always felt like I was in the wrong gear, and putting it in sport mode was you just couldn't do it. I mean, you could, but I would take it out of that because it wouldn't shift. Like, you think the car would shift when you're at 3,000 RPMs, and it just didn't. I don't know if that's been fixed in the new ones or not, but in my 2019, the way that it was, I drove in manual mode basically everywhere because I couldn't handle not shifting. This car, much different. My RS5, much different. It's an 8-speed ZF Auto, which is common to a bunch of cars. I had it in my X3M. They have it in a ton of cars now, where it's one of the new transmissions, the hot transmissions that's out there, and it works very well. It's very smooth. There are times when it's a little bit clunky, but for the most part, it works very well. It always seems to be in the right gear too. When you're in sport mode, I put it in sport mode all the time, and I drive around, and it is like it should be. You know, you could actually shift into different gears when you need to, and you're not at super high RPMs when you're doing it. The wheels. Now, the RS3 came with 19-inch wheels. I never liked those. They're diamond cut. They look really high-end. and they were from Audi, and they were like $800 a piece, but I just never liked them. I never liked those rims. I actually like my winter rims better, and I'll show you a picture of those right now. So yeah, I mean, you can see the black on black, it really played with each other very well, and it looked very nice. I really actually like those rims better, and thought about making those my summer rims, but you know, what do you do? Those were 18s. The RS5, I'll show you now. And these rims are, I mean, I like them, but I like them better than the RS3 rim, but they're not as cool as I would hope. So they're a 20-inch rim. They're also the same diamond cut. These are 275/30 020 tires that go on these. And then of course you have the big brakes on here. Now, these are 6-piston calipers. In the RS3 you have 8-piston calipers, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is the biggest brake in the car industry right now. I believe it is. So the wheels on either of them are not the greatest, but they're not terrible. I mean, it's not like I hate them or anything like that. Options. Both cars were similarly optioned. The RS3 had all the packages I wanted: adaptive cruise, dynamic, you know, just everything that you need. This has the same stuff, so same thing. The gas mileage. Gas mileage varies quite a bit. Now, I haven't taken this on a true trip. I mean, I did come back from Chicago, so I mean, yeah, but I don't really have good examples of gas mileage for this right now for this car, but I'll still go through it. So for the RS3, you get 19 city, 28 highway. I got 19.5 for my worst and 30.4 for my best. So pretty on par with what they said. The RS5, 18 city, 27 highway. I've gotten 21.4 for my worst and 24.6 for my best, but I've only had it for a couple months, so there's that too. The space. So the space is definitely one of the biggest factors in this. The RS3 has, in the 2019 model, had 10 cubic feet of space in the trunk, which is very small. And I can attest to that. I mean, you couldn't even fit a small box or a medium-sized box in the back seat. You had to fold the seats down and do all sorts of weird stuff, and you can't carry anything in that. The new one has 11.3, so it has a little bit more space, but still, it's small. It's a small car. It's meant to be a small car. The RS5 is 21.8 with the seats up, so that's just in the sport back area. And you can fit a ton of stuff back there. It's so nice to have space and storage, but I will say it comes at a cost. And the cost is that the length of the RS5 is like considerably bigger than what the RS3 was. So the RS3 for 2019, 176.3 inches long. The new one is 178.8 inches long, so a little bit longer. The RS5 is 188.3 inches, and you can feel it definitely when you're parking the car. I definitely noticed that. A lot longer. It was actually longer than my X3M even. And the next thing is options. So like I mentioned before, both of these cars are similarly optioned. They both have pretty much, they share the same options basically. The adaptive cruise in this is a little bit different because there's sensors on both sides versus just one in the middle. And it picks up, it's a little bit more sensitive. It picks up a lot more things on the road. Like if people are, you know, going from one lane to another, it'll pick that up and kind of slow you down a little bit. But it's not terrible. The Audi Presense works pretty well, especially if you have, you know, somebody that cuts you off or something like that. You know, it'll lock you up a little bit, but it's not terrible. The radio was probably the biggest difference that I noticed, and that was just, I feel like there's a sub in here and there wasn't a sub in the RS3, and I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's just how I feel. And I definitely think that this is a much more powerful radio, and it just sounds better. When you turn it up, it sounds good. The dash and, you know, the appointments like that are, you know, pretty similar. We have here the radio. This is a standalone radio. It doesn't fold back or anything like that. So, you know, I like the feel of this. This car, especially with the steering wheel. And you can see that it's got the dimples here. And it's just a leather steering wheel. It's not any of that Alcantara garbage that the RS3 had. RS3 had the Alcantara in 10 and 2. I didn't like it. Alcantara is extremely hard to keep clean. It's nice when it's clean, but it doesn't stay clean for very long. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. My push for 1,000 subscribers. I really enjoy every subscription. I really enjoy reading your guys' comments. Please continue to keep commenting on the videos. I do appreciate it. You know, doing a review like this, hopefully I can reach more people. That's my intent. I'd like to grow my channel as much as I can, and I can only do that with you guys. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate your comments, negative or positive. You know, fact checking me when I have something wrong is definitely okay with me. I'm not perfect in my editing, so I definitely can use the help. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next video. See ya. Bye.